Hello, everyone. Lovely to see you, to be together recognizing ourself as oneself. This formless awareness. The elephant in the room. The screen of consciousness. It welcomes without any effort. Welcomes without welcoming. Everything which seemingly appears. Because there is nothing which is separate from the screen of awareness. On the surface, there may be activity and movement, impressions of events happening, like in your night dream. While in fact, there is nothing truly happening, because all is one. This formless awareness does not know any separation. We are habituated to perceive from a me perspective, from a certain imaginary focal point. So we release this focal point. It's as if we are perceiving from a space behind the eyes, behind the head, behind the body, so that your perception is more global, without a particular focus point. It's as if it is the universe which is perceiving, or one could say the space of awareness is perceiving. So you remain undefined. There is no effort involved. You release the focal point, and in doing so, you release your personal identification as a man, a woman, a person, a member of a tribe, so that you can merge in a way into the vastness, the ocean, the formless self, which is one self. There is a deep relaxation of sort. Identification released. And there is no need to replace our old identity with a new form of identification. Like the wide open sky, it may appear from the human biocomputer perspective to be blue, but it is colorless, shapeless, formless, unaffected by the weather which appears, the clouds which appear and disappear. You are that spaciousness, that vastness, always, always so. In spite of identifying yourself as a somebody, somebody limited, because all bodies are limited, all forms are limited. In spite of this surface limitation, The wide open sky remains unobstructed, like an image appearing on the screen. It does not contract, diminish the screen. So you go behind your identification, behind the first line of attack, behind the patterns of defense and patterns of fear and blame and patterns of seeking and endless desire. You go behind that layer. You discover the peace, the causeless being, the freedom. That which is beyond the mind, that which is beyond the form. That which doesn't come and go. The light of awareness, the formless awareness, shining onto itself as I am. Shining onto itself as I know that I am. This formless awareness is your true nature. It's creative. It creates out of its freedom and limitless potential. Creates a lila. Night dreams, waking dreams. And beyond, limitlessly. It's a human passing dream. It has a secret mission. The secret mission of waking up from the sense of separation, waking up from the belief that you are a limited entity. That is the secret mission of this human waking dream. To come to the understanding about that which is beyond time and space. The changeless, formless aspect of your experience. The formless light of awareness. And this understanding is always available to you because you are that transparent, invisible, formless, edgeless, aware presence, awareness. You are not something that appears and disappears. Everything which appears and disappears within you, the formless consciousness. When you mistake yourself to be an image on the screen, to be a son or a daughter, you experience the field of limitation and the field of insufficiency, the contracted realm of insufficiency, lack and fear, fear of death, seeking something else, this senseless inner battle. In vain, you want a different experience because you are identified with the subject of experience. But you are not the subject of experience. You are the conceiver, creator, and perceiver. You're the source. You're not a limited form. There is a radiance within experience, the radiance of knowledge. You are that radiance. So the invitation is to explore pure being, relaxing the habitual being somebody. It may appear challenging initially, but you will find this experience to be fulfilling, to be no particular body, no particular entity, to relax and release the past and the future. And then the light of awareness reveals itself as shining effortlessly. You are that shining light. And so the experiment is yours to undertake. Stepping out of those old muddy boots, dropping that huge load, that backpack full of stuff, belief structures and opinions and personal attachments, so that you can tread lightly, certain buoyancy in your life. Simple joys, appreciation in each moment, for this magic show, which is about you, the true you. It's about the self awakening to itself. You are that. You are that wakefulness, that freedom, that innate wisdom, impersonal, free. So, if you have any questions, anything that you would like to explore, please make sure you unmute yourself and you can raise your hand or use an icon. There is an icon somewhere in the bottom of the screen called the reactions, I think. Or you could also raise your hand there. So any questions? Hello, Floyd.
Hi, Magdi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I think, just wanted to share that the meditations, initially I couldn't connect when I joined maybe a week or two back. But now I feel it is giving a flow, to this silent space. So I wanted to ask you, uh, or rather share what is happening, that earlier there was a lot of this idea that I have to do something to get somewhere, to have certain goals. But now I don't see much of that, in the last few months. I see that uh, that onus has reduced. That onus of wanting to achieve or do something has reduced. Maybe it was always not there, but there was part of me which was coming in, saying that, oh, you should do it, and, blaming. So that fight I see has reduced between those two sort of characters. And yeah, I think things are lighter, but yeah, sometimes there can be emotions which rise up, or things can rise up
Mhm.
on the surface.
Yes.
And it is not that, like maybe, I don't know, somehow there is this idea, that the saints or the sages, or Ramana Maharshi has created, and it means they have not created it, but we have created this image that, once you reach that state, probably you'll be always in silence. And but what I see is, maybe I don't see that I'm all the time in silence, but in general, there is an ease with things, even if I'm watching a movie or if I'm doing something, there is a sort of ease, and there is a sort of not, sort of being hard on myself. That is, I think, what has reduced is being hard on myself. So, so are we aspiring in this direction, or I don't know, aspiration is the right word, but is that the sort of longing or intention of this whole process of satsang?
Who is asking? When the dam is removed, or when you open the dam, open the gates of the dam, the water flows towards the ocean. And in the flow, there's effortlessness. The effort is in building the dam. And as the water is flowing, the gurgling sound of the stream and the bubbles. It's his life. The fields are nourished by the flow of the stream. The understanding is not something we do. It is God's understanding that shines onto our mind, that visits us. And upon God's visit, things change. When the king visits the kingdom, the kingdom is happy. They love the king, a benevolent king. They love the king, they're happy. The king notices, oh, gee, we need to fix this bridge. Let's fix this bridge. Oh, we need to build a mill so we can grind the grain and have flour for the people in the village. Let's build the mill. God's visit is like that. It's more and more peace and happiness and effortless living. The old habits of worrying and concern and efforting, and seeking and worrying and realize, oh, there is the benevolence of the king, you know. This understanding about your true self, which is not some entity you believe yourself to be or you've been imagining yourself to be for and worrying about for so long. The understanding that your true self is already this innate freedom. That you are not limited, that there are certain constraints, limitations upon form, upon the body-mind. Your car can only drive up to so many miles before running out of gas. There are limitations onto form. But you are this formless awareness. And this understanding, once the light starts shining in, it guides you. The light of understanding guides you, invites you to follow it. Because we have for so long been in the realm of identification and worry and concern and thinking and, oh my God, should I do it this way? Should I do that? What's going to happen to me if will I become like Ramana? All these are just images on the screen. The
So
screen.
that was not the worry. That was like, the sort of thing that, okay, I'm not reaching that model of.
Yes. A model is just a model. The
uh,
model, the model appears within that which is not a model. Yes? The true model, the true model is no model. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's no model. You see. So we recognize the no model. We recognize ourselves as unbound, free, not a personal freedom, you see, but the innate freedom of consciousness, which is formless, is aware presence, not some concept of consciousness, not some concept of awareness. But right now, there is awareness. Right now, in this moment, I is this awareness. This formless awareness that is not located inside, it's not located in India, it's not located in California. You see, California or India appears within this awareness. A thought appears within awareness. An image, a memory, a sensation appears within the no form, you see. The thought appears and disappears. Within what? Within you awareness. Not you, Floyd, this particular body-mind entity with its history and parents and etc. No, that appears within awareness. The Floyd history, story, appearance appears within awareness. You know, when I say awareness, I mean right now, awareness. Right now, this, whatever it is right now, that is right now perceiving this perception and knows it is. I know I am. Not I know I am Magdi. No, I know the body is Magdi. Yes, it's named Magdi. That I know. But I know I am has nothing to do with I know the body is Magdi. It's just pure I am. I know I am. That knowingness, that amness, is lacking nothing. It's not a different amness from Ramana's amness or from the Buddha's amness. Not different. It's the journey home is this journey from here to here, from oneself to oneself. It's not a journey across time and space. It's just this awakening, this understanding. Ah, yes, I am this transparent presence. It's true. It's my experience, not a new belief. I'm not interested in new beliefs. Ramana's belief or Huang Tzu's belief or Hakuin's belief. No, I'm not interested in adopting a new holy. No, there's not a religion. You have to join this religion. It's about understanding, and this understanding is available to you. This moment that you are not something which appears to you. You are that knowing aspect, the awareness aspect, the being aspect. And that being aspect, that awareness aspect is formless, dimensionless, no location, it has no age, no gender, no beginning, no ending.
Um, Another thing which when I discuss about non-duality, of course, there's nothing to discuss, but one thing which is asked is, not necessarily asked by me, but sometimes maybe it comes in some way that if we are not the doer of the actions per se, then what does that do to the idea of responsibility,
Yes, it's a good.
of personal responsibility?
Yes, a good question.
So also, if I go to, like, if I say to someone, I don't know, it's not important actually, even if they ridicule, but still, when I say to someone, that, oh, okay, which path are you on? It seems to be you're doing something spiritual. So I say, okay, I go for satsang, non-duality. So they say, oh, non-duality means don't take responsibility for anything. Everything is.
No, that's a mistake. That's a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. So in terms of responsibility uh, refers to how we respond to this particular situation. If you are walking in town and you see a little child who fell down on the ground and is crying or needs some help, you at that moment responsibility is how do we respond in that moment to this situation. We pick up the child, we try to comfort them, and if they have a little wound, just to try to cater to their wound, make them feel it's okay. You see, I explain to them it's okay. How do we respond in life? We be in relationship and something happens in relationship. Our partner acts in certain ways that trigger a certain reaction within us. How do we respond? How do we express? How do we take a look? See, responsibility is to, in the moment, is it possible for us to respond not from the habitual reflective, reflexive, defensive, just self-justification or blaming the others or blaming one, not to respond from the conditioned pattern, but to respond from understanding about our non-dual nature. That our non-dual nature means love, means compassion, means we are the same in essence. And of course, there are limitations to the body mind. There are some things that I would love to help in certain situations, but it's impossible in terms of my capacity. I only do so much. But whatever is possible, you see. So, no, that's a misunderstanding about non-duality, Floyd. And responsibility is a key part of non-duality. How to live, not just some talk about non-duality, Advaita Vedanta, blah, blah, study this and go to the next class. And no, all that is nonsense. You come to the understanding about consciousness, about one reality, then live it. Living it is 80% of non-duality. So whoever is then non-duality means we're all one, there's nothing to do, no one is doing anything, and so has a profound understanding, a misunderstanding about non-duality. I never speak that way about there is nothing to do, and sometimes I would share that there is no one doing anything, there's nothing to do from a personal self. There's no personal self. But responding doesn't require you to be a personal self. You don't need to be a hero and wear the medals. Oh, look, what I did. No, you do it out of love. Out of love. You sometimes you remain still when you feel a certain reaction and you see that this reaction is coming from trying to defend your old personal self. You say, no, that's nonsense. This me that is being threatened is just some old pattern that wants to continue itself. So I say, no, I'm not going to engage in self-defense. I'm going to listen. You see, when I listen. That is also an act of responsibility, because you're responding by just being silent and listening. So from the outside, from a third party perspective, I say, oh, this guy is doing nothing. But in fact, you are. Internally, you are noticing, oh, I feel like I want to defend myself. I feel like I want to blame them. But I'm exploring just to be still, to be present, to listen. And I'm inviting myself to recognize that this tendency to defend myself is part of the illusion, part of the me belief, the me structure, the structure of separation, which wants to maintain itself. And there are various ways of responding. There are various ways in which responsibility is acts out depending on the situation that you are facing.
One of the ways in which people might see is irresponsible is that, let's say, let's say they'll say, okay, fine, you've heard this satsang of non-duality for so many times, and you've been to Ramana ashram so many times. So now why do you still go there? Maybe you should do your work, expand your work more. Maybe you should try something so that you can, sort of grow your family. Because in India, we have this idea that, okay, if you have not for me, but in general, when my parents were alive, they would say, okay, you should get a wife so that she can help the family, she can support. So the idea of responsibility is somewhere connected in making something happen in the world.
Mm.
Maybe if you're spiritual, they will say, okay, why not make a spiritual organization? Why don't you become a guru? Why don't you go to the next step? So in some way, the idea of responsibility is not about response, but it is about getting something done in the world, like
Mm-hmm.
accomplishing something.
Yes. Yeah. We have a confusion, about in life, about we believe that uh, responsibility is about accomplishing something in life. But it's not about that. It's about how you accomplish, not what you accomplish. It's not about what you attain, but how you live, how you attain what you attain. We overlook that. We mostly focus on let's succeed. So we put our children, we force our children to become A students, become perfect robots, perfect achievers. Ignore everything. Just go for the flag. Go for the flag. Go for the flag. Yeah, you attained the flag. Now build a mountain, build a castle. Yeah, we overlook how, how are we? How are we living? How are we? And when we are driven by achievement because of worry and concern and fear and wanting to accomplish something great phenomenally. I want to have the greatest house, the most beautiful friends with their Maseratis and the jewels and the God knows what. We're overlooking something very, very important. Now, look, if that is what speaks to you, I'm talking general, if that's what speaks to you, go for it, go for it. Honor other people's freedom, I studied to be an engineer. Did my master's degree. And as you shared, I lost complete interest in working for GE or, working, on some projects for the Navy or the Air Force. And I lost that interest. And it was a great disappointment for my mother. Oh my God, because she wanted me to be that. But something within me had shifted. Can we allow for that? It was very precious for me to drop all that. I couldn't explain it to my mother. She couldn't understand it. And she exerted a lot of effort to change my path according to how she felt, But it was very painful inwardly for me, because it was divided between my love for my mother and my love for that other calling that came to me. It was very painful, very difficult. At some point, she let go, but it took quite a while. So the question is, can we allow for diversity? Okay, you want to accomplish great success in the world, or be a great teacher, to be the yogi, Ramana too. Go ahead. Some people have the vocation to. I mean, look at me. I share. I don't have a personal ambition. I just share. It's just part of the makeup of this body mind. There are many people who have great understanding, great wisdom, and they're not sharing, or on occasion, in very many small ways. We don't all have to be performers, it's how we live, how we relate. There is a perfume in life. It's not just what the rose looks like, it's the perfume. The Arabian jasmine is a teeny tiny flower. My God, the perfume of the Arabian jasmine, oh my God, it's so beautiful. We have some Arabian jasmines here. When they flower, pick up the little flowers, bring them home, and Tara and I, we go to heaven smelling them, It's just a teeny tiny white flower, Sometimes you have a big, huge flower, but it doesn't compare to the perfume of the jasmine. This world is not just about this world. Of course, it's nice to if you're a poet, compose beautiful poetry. If you're an artist, to compose great art, it's beautiful. Build the beautiful gardens, for people to enjoy. Beautiful architecture. But this life is not just about this life. Because in one tsunami, the Taj Mahal is gone. In one earthquake, the Tower of Pisa is gone, or the Colosseum in Rome is gone. So the people who are speaking this way to you, they need to go beyond their material mind. I'm not excluding the material mind, but they need to expand the material mind, to include a different quality. The quality of love, the quality of compassion, the quality of freedom and love and beauty. And of course, I'm in no way ignoring the need for the care of the body mind, the food, shelter, and clothing, comfort, and have a certain lifestyle that you enjoy. Yes, absolutely. I remember when Jean Klein was the teacher of Francis Lucille. One of the questions he asked Francis initially when they met is, are you materially, financially comfortable? And he said, yes, I am. He said, okay, that's good. Because if you cannot settle, take care of your food, shelter, and clothing matters, how could you take care of awakening to your true self? You cannot accomplish this simple task. I'm just sharing that as a sort of a metaphor that, yes, we take care of food, shelter, and clothing. We are engaged in life. We work. We take care of what we need to take care of. It's part of the design. So one does not exclude the other. The fact that you are exploring truth, which is the greatest task that I know of in this human realm, it does not exclude accomplishing whatever you feel like accomplishing in the realm of life. But it's not about accomplishing what, if you're drawn to accomplish, go ahead. Of course. Sure. There are many ways of living. Many ways.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Okay, right. Nice talking with you. Any questions?
Hi, Magdi.
Yes. Hello, Patrick.
Hi. I kind of piggybacking off of what you were talking about just now. I'm wondering, how do you know the difference between conditioning and just your personality? For instance, when I was young, I remember reading Jonathan Livingston Seagull. And at the end of the book, he had to decide whether he wanted to go to the next level or stay behind and teach others. And he chose to stay behind and teach others. And I remember very viscerally feeling like I would have chosen to go to the next level. And even when I'm in these meetings and listening to teachers, I'm so grateful for the teachers. But when I imagine myself in their position, it doesn't appeal to me to be trying to break through the ego to get it just doesn't appeal to me. And so how do I know if that's based on conditioning from my early childhood, or if it's just not something that's in the cards for me?
Well, if something appeals to you in the moment right now, you can ask yourself, this appeal, is it in the service of my personal self, whatever that is? Or is it just arising from I don't know what, If it's arising from this personal self, personal ambition or personal desire, then I would press the pause button. I would not proceed. So you don't need to go back into the past. You can look into the moment that you have a certain calling, something is arising for you. On whose behalf is that arising? Like a teacher may teach because they want to be a teacher, they want to be seen as a teacher, or they want to have a personal ambition, whatever that is, I don't know. Or a teacher can be teaching just because they love to share. It's just there is a love for sharing, which has nothing to do with any personal attainment or any personal goal. It's just, it's like somebody loves to play the piano, and then they work so hard on learning how to play the piano, and they walk into the mall, they see a piano, they get drawn to the piano, they sit down, and they, those public spaces. Sometimes and you. So I think it's within you to recognize that subtle what's behind the scene for you. So it's between you and yourself. You have to sort of look and be sincere, of course, with yourself. Of course, why just say, wait a minute. Oh yeah, I want to be a great blah blah blah, so that everybody applauds me. Okay, just to recognize that. Okay, fine. Well, good luck with that. Or I'm drawn towards doing this activity, and I don't know where it's going to go. And I don't care where it's going to go. I just feel drawn to doing that, and it's not hurting anybody, and I have the time to do it, and I don't have maybe all the skills. I can develop some of the skills. You see. Like in my case, I developed skills of speaking, of sharing, by paying attention to what way of formulating what I'm formulating can express that which is in a way inexpressible. And yeah, so anyways, that's how I heard your question and how I answer it. Because we don't know, like, it's hard to tell what is our personality, what is our condition. I mean, it's difficult to tell, but you can tell, in the moment, what's driving you.
Mm.
I
don't know. I feel like somehow I lack the capacity for that, because even like right now, I have a marriage of 29 years dissolving. And it took me forever to realize whether the marriage was staying together out of codependency or if there was some kind of a connection. And so, no, it's almost as if I have to develop trust in that intuition. You know what I mean? Because I don't trust that I know the difference between resistance and inspiration. Like, what am I avoiding doing something because of resistance, or is it just a lack of inspiration? Because as I went through non-duality and I got more and more stabilized in this understanding, one of the things that I was not interested in was learning about facts and historical things and Sanskrit terminology. I just wanted relief from the suffering.
Right.
And so none of that nonsense meant anything to me. It's just like, how can I find relief? And now that I've got relief from the suffering, I don't know, like the mud is clearing, and I don't know, kind of like, what's the difference between doing something because you want to do it versus not doing something because the resistance
Right.
comes up from conditioning in childhood
Yes.
trauma or whatever.
Right.
And so, like, for instance, the only time any kind of intelligence comes through me is when I'm writing. When I'm trying to verbalize these things, I find it very difficult to verbalize, but when I'm writing, I feel like I can get into a flow, and it flows right through me and onto the page. And so, yeah, I don't know if it's just a trust thing that I have to stabilize in trusting that what's going to happen is going to happen regardless of whether I want it to or not.
Yeah. Things happen whichever way they happen. And from my perspective, who cares? Just speaking for myself. Now, in terms of who cares? I'm saying who cares because I'm open to whichever way things happen. And I don't know how things are going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball. I mean, we never know what's around the corner. But I'm open to anything that happens, whichever way it happens. Of course, I wish love and peace for everybody, including myself. That what happens, happens, and I'm available for it. So there is an availability, an unconditional availability. And then there may be moments where I'm resisting. I'm like, oh, no, no. And I see this no, this resistance. I may not see it right away, obviously, because I only see it after it's on board, right? So that's when I see it. I don't see it as it's coming. Or in a way, actually, I would correct myself. I even sense that it's coming, that the resistance is coming because I'm starting to get a little annoyed. And this annoyance, I see it as just being pure BS. It's just pure BS. Okay, it's my own old habits, whatever you call it. Who cares? But I see this annoyance. I see this resistance. Now, not to see this resistance only means that I'm not interested in seeing it. I'd rather buy into the resistance, play out the resistance, play out my narrative. And I'm not interested in seeing it right now. That's what it means to me. And I've done that. And I know experientially what are the consequences of choosing not to see my resistance and play it out.
Right.
It's like throwing mud on the wall, you know. You see it. I've seen it, and I see it. And I'm now, over time, you know, after many wounds, you know, overall, I don't buy into the resistance. The resistance comes, and I sort of see it, and I surrender myself totally to the situation. Of course, I'm not talking about any situation that hurts anybody or or surrender to the situation. What is? It's just an inner resistance, a habitual inner resistance. So whenever I am not seeing the resistance, it's a choice I'm making. I still have this little preference to play out resistance.
Yeah, I think what your answer gave me a glimpse into what I think is happening is it's a subtle way of the ego trying to come in the back door. In other words, my whole life was very miserable, internally speaking, a lot of suffering. And so now I find myself alone in the woods in a cabin, and I love my life. I love every minute of my life. And so in a sense, I feel maybe there's a little bit of guilt. Like there's so many people suffering and I'm not anymore. And so now I feel like there's like an egoic thing, like I should be out helping people relieve their suffering, or something to that effect. And so the ego is trying to resurrect itself in the back, through the back door.
It's all God's doing. If you're in the woods and you're enjoying being in the woods and enjoying that everything is perfect, and I should be helping people, that people are suffering, I should be helping people. That's just a narrative. It's a me narrative. I, Patrick, me, Magdi, Magdi should be what Magdi is. What is this Magdi? What is this Patrick? What is it?
Yeah.
What is it? How real is it? The reality of Patrick, the reality of Magdi is consciousness. And when consciousness presents you to be in the wood, and living in the woods, in the cabin, nice and quiet, and enjoying the beautiful sunrise and sunset, writing you said you enjoy, the writing or going for walks or whatever you're doing. Right on, beautiful, right on. That's the best service you can do to
and just fall in love with the unknown. Like I don't know what's going to happen next in my life, and fall in love with that. Be enthusiastic about the fact that you don't know what's coming next, and embrace it and enjoy it.
I know, that's part of the excitement.
Yeah.
The surprise, wow, it's being surprised.
Yeah, instead of the ego trying to figure out what's next, the ego is always like, well, what's next? What's next?
And also like telling you how you should be, how
right.
should be, how you should live. Oh, no, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this right. What is this?
Yeah.
What is this I, this you that's doing it right or doing it wrong?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Magdi. Thank you.
Okay, nice to see you, Patrick. Okay.
Nice to see you.
Okay. Well, very lovely to be with you all. Thank you. Sending you my love and being honored by your love.
Beautiful. Thank you.